Good morning, students. Once again, I welcome you all on my YouTube channel. Today, we are going to resume the chapter The Enemy of Vistas. It is written by Paul S. Buck. So, she went ahead and slid back to the partisans. So, Hannah went ahead of Yumi and she slid back the partisan. Sadao was not yet there. Yumi followed Hannah and put down her wooden bucket. Then Yumi went over to the white man, and when she saw him, she spoke stubbornly that she had never washed a white man, and she would not wash so dirty a one now, means the white man. Hannah cried at her Yumi severely, means harshly, that she would do what her master commanded her. There was so fierce a look of resistance upon Yumi's round dull face. So Hannah found a fierce look of resistance, means refusal, opposition on Yumi's round dull face, that Hannah felt unreasonably afraid, scared. After all, if the servants should report something that was not as it happened, so Hannah was worried that whether the servants should report something which had not yet happened, means the recovery of the white man. She said with dignity, she told with respect that Yumi should understand they only wanted to bring the white man to his senses, to his consciousness, so that they could turn him over as a prisoner, handed home. Turn over means handed over. Yumi replied that she would have nothing to do with it. It was not her business. She was a poor person, and it was not her business whether the white man was kept or whether he was handed over to the police. So Hannah said gently and requested Yumi to return to her own work, as it was not her business to see what they would do with the white man. At once, Yumi left the room and she left Hannah with the white man alone. So Hannah might have been afraid. Hannah might have been afraid of the white man if her anger at Yumi's stubbornness. Now, if he had not sustained her, so due to her anger at Yumi's stubbornness, she was not scared. She murmured, saying that Yumi was stupid because this was nothing but a man. He was nothing but a man, and he was a wounded, injured, helpless man. In her conviction of her own superiority, so Hannah, whatever she was doing correct. So she was convinced. She has a strong opinion that of her own superiority. She was a master. She bent impulsively and untied the knotted rugs that kept the white man covered. When she had his breast bare, she dipped the small clean towel that Yumi had brought into the steaming hot water and washed his face carefully. So, with the towel, Hannah washed the face of the white man carefully. The man's skin, though rough with exposure, she found that the skin of the white man was rough with exposure, was of fine texture, and must have been very blonde, very golden when he was a child, filled gold color. While Hannah was thinking of all these thoughts, though she didn't like the man better now, as the white man was no longer a child. She hated him because he was an American. But still, Hannah kept on washing him until his upper body was quite clean. But she didn't have she didn't have courage. She dared not to turn him over. She didn't have courage to turn him over. She was worried about, she was anxious. She asked, where was Sadao? She was looking for Sadao. She was waiting for Sadao, her husband. Now her anger was ebbing. So her anger towards the white man was now ebbing, decreasing, and she was worried again, and she rose, she stood up, and she wiped her hands on the wrong towel. Then she found that the man was feeling so cold that she put the quilt over him. Therefore, the man, white man, was feeling cold. Therefore, she put the quilt over him. She called softly to her husband Sadav. Sadav had been about to come in when she called, and Sadav's hand had been on the door, and he opened it. Sadav opened the door when Hannah was waiting for him. Hannah saw that he had brought his surgeon's emergency bag and that he wore his surgeon's coat. She cried, asking her husband whether he had decided to operate, and Sadav replied shortly and affirmative that yes, he had decided to operate the white man. He turned his back to her and he unfolded a sterilized towel upon the floor of the tokomona. Tokomona is a niche or an alcove in a Japanese home for displaying a flower arrangement, kakemono, or the other piece of art. Alcove, and put his instruments, all his medical instruments, upon it. He asked Hannah to fetch towels, fetch means bring towel. She went obediently, but she was worried. She went obediently, very worriedly to the linen cells and took out the towels. She was so worried, she thought that there should also be old piece of matting so that the blood would not ruin the floor, spoil the floor covering. So she was worried about her matting towel. She went to the back veranda. So Hannah went to the back veranda where the gardener kept strips of matting with which to protect delicate bushes on cold night, and she took an handful of them. But when she went back into the room, she saw that those strips of matting which she brought were useless, meaningless, because the blood had already soaked through the packing in the white man's wound, injury, and had already ruined, means spoiled, the mat under him. She cried, showing her disappointment at the mat which was ruined, and Sadav replied, without caring about the mat, that affirmatively that yes, the mat was spoiled because of the blood soaked through it. And Sadav commanded her to help him to turn the white man. And Hannah, like obedient wife, she obeyed her husband without a word and began to wash the man's back carefully. She told her husband that Yumi refused to wash him. Yumi would not wash him. Sadav asked her, without stopping for a moment, with a swift, precise movement, means without speaking much. So he kept on working, and Sadav asked whether Hannah had washed him then, and Hannah replied affirmatively that yes, she had washed the white man, as Yumi refused to wash him. Sadav was not interested to hear his wife, whatever his wife was talking, but Hannah was also used to his absorption. But Hannah was familiar with his focus when he was at work, when he was operating somebody. Hannah wondered for a moment, she thought for a moment, whether it mattered to her husband what was the body upon which he worked so long, as it was the work he did so excellently. So Hannah thought whether her husband, it mattered to her husband what was the body upon, whether the body of enemy or of his own country. He worked so long as it for the work. So it didn't matter to it means that Sadav was a doctor, and it didn't matter to him whether he was operating his own countrymen or the enemy. For him, the work meant a lot. So Sadav asked his wife Hannah to give the anesthetic. He told his wife that she would have to give anesthetic if the white man needed it. But Hannah she repeated blankly means showing without interest. She asked whether she would have to give anesthetic as she had never had given anesthetic. She had never given anesthetic to any patient. He explained to her impatiently. He told her impatiently that it was easy enough to give anesthetic to any patient. He was taking out the packing now. Sadav now taking out the packing from the white man's body, and the blood began to flow more quickly. He peered, he looked carefully, closely to the injury with the bright surgeon's light fastened means attached on his forehead. He told her with the full interest that the bullet was still there, and he even told her that he wondered how deep that rock wound was. After hitting with the rock, the wound had gone deepen. The bullet had gone deepen. He believed that if it was not too deep, if the wound was not too deep, if the bullet was not too deep, it might be that he could get the bullet. So due to hitting with the rock, the white man's wound got deeper. But the bleeding was not superficial. Superficial means not serious. The man had lost much blood. At this moment, Hannah choked. She was unable to breathe. Sadav looked up and saw her face became pale, the color of sulfur. On her face was looking like color of sulfur. He told his wife sharply not to faint, not to become unconscious, because Hannah had not seen operation in her life. Hannah had seen the operation first time, that's why she was feeling vomiting. And that's why Sadav told her not to faint, because she had not seen blood. She was looking at the blood first time. He didn't put down his exploring instrument. He told Hannah that if he stopped, then the man would surely die. Hannah put her hands to her mouth and jump up, ran out of the room. And Sadav found that outside in the garden, he heard her retching, vomiting. So Sadav heard that Hannah was vomiting outside in the garden. But Sadav, he went on with his work without worrying about about Hannah's vomiting. Sadav thought that it would be better for Hannah to empty her stomach. Sadav had already forgotten that, of course, Hannah had never seen an operation. But Hannah's sorrow, and his inability to go to her and attend her at once made him impatient. So Sadav had become impatient because he was unable to leave the white man without attending him, and he wanted to go and attend his wife, but he couldn't help her at her distress. So he felt impatient and irritable with this white man who was laying dead under his knife. He thought that the white man had no reason under heaven at all. So Sadav thought that the white man had no reason at all to live. White man had no reason why he should live. Unconsciously, this thought that the white man should live made him ruthless, made him cruel and hard. Even though he was a doctor, it is his duty to save him. And he proceeded swiftly, quickly. The man unconsciously, in his dream, means the man in his unconsciousness, he was moaning, he was crying with pain, but Sadao paid no attention. Heed means Sadao paid no attention except to mutter at him. Mutter means murmur at him. He only murmured at him. Sadao murmured to the white man to groan. He told him to cry of pain, groan if you like. He just told the white man to cry of pain if you like, as he was not doing for his own pleasure. Whatever he was doing to save his life. So he didn't want to hear the cry of pain, groaning of the white man. In fact, Sadao didn't know why he was doing it. He didn't know why he was saving the life of enemy. The door opened and Sadao found that Hannah back again. Hannah asked in a clear voice to Sadao, asking him about the anesthetic. So Hannah asked her husband where the anesthetic was. Sadao moved with his chin, and Sadao told her that it was good that she had come back after vomiting, and he told her that the white man was beginning to move. This fellow, means white man, was beginning to move. She had the bottle and some cotton in her hand. So Hannah had the bottle and some cotton in her hand. Hannah asked, how shall I do it? So she didn't know how to give anesthetic. So she asked how she should do it. So Sadao replied without delaying for one moment the intricate, the complexity of the operation, complicated detail of his work, whatever he was doing, without stopping his work, which was very complicated. He instructed her to simply saturate the cotton and hold it near his nostril. And he told her that when the white man breathes badly, she should move it away little. She should move the cotton little away from him. Hannah crouched close to the sleeping face. She bent. Crouch means she bent close to the sleeping face of the young American, the white man. She found that she felt pity at his thin face and his lips were twisted. So Hannah felt pity. Piteously means she felt pity at his thin face. She thought about his piteously thin face and his lips, which were twisted. The man was suffering without his knowledge. His white man was suffering without his knowledge, whether he knew it or not. Hannah, watching him, she wondered. She thought about all the stories they heard sometimes of the suffering of prisoners. That true? So Hannah had already heard about the stories of prisoners of war, how they were harassed by the Japanese. She wondered, she thought about the harassment, about the torture of those white men at the hands of Japanese, were true or not. And all those stories came like rumors from one person to the another person, told by word of mouth. So from one person to another person, and always those stories contradicted, means always those stories were not true. In the newspaper, the reports were always that whenever the Japanese armies went, the people received them gladly. So she thought, if the stories were true, then she read in the newspaper the reports that whenever Japanese armies went at the people received them gladly with cries of joy and with liberation. But sometimes Hannah remembered such men as General Takima, who at home beat his wife cruelly. So she remembered the story about General Takima, who was so cruel that who beat his wife cruelly, but no one mentioned about his cruelty towards his wife. And now Takima had fought so victorious a battle in Manchuria. So she thought whether whatever she heard about Takima was true or not. She wondered if a man like that, if a man like Takima could be so cruel to a woman in his power, he would not be so cruel to one like this, for instance. So she was worried about the white man. She was worried whether the white man would be harassed by the general like Takima. She hoped anxiously, worriedly that this young man had not been tortured. She hoped that young man had not been harassed, tortured, tormented by the Japanese like General Takima. It was at this moment she observed deep red scar on his neck. So when she was thinking about the cruelty of Takima on prisoner of war, she observed a deep red scar on the neck of the American white man, just under the ear of the white man. She murmured, Hannah murmured and lifted her eyes to Sadao, showing those scars. She told her husband about those scars. But Sadao didn't answer. At this moment, Sadao felt the tip of his instrument strike against something hard. So, Sadao felt that the tip of his instrument suddenly struck against something hard, and it was dangerously near the kidney. He thought that the bullet was near the kidney. All thought left him. Sadao, as he was expert doctor, so he felt only the purest pleasure that finally he got the bullet. He found the bullet. He probed with fingers. Probe means he examined with his fingers and delicately familiar with every atom of this human body. So Sadao was an expert surgeon, and that's why he was familiar with every atom of this human body. He remembered that his old American professor of anatomy had imparted to that knowledge. So, whatever knowledge he got from his professor of anatomy. And he had thundered the professor at his classes every year, year after year. The professor, he had thundered, he spoke loudly to his classes that ignorance of the human body is the surgeon's cardinal sin, means serious sin. According to him, it is the surgeon's cardinal sin if he doesn't know about the human body. He thundered year after year. He told the students that as a surgeon, we should know each and every part of the human body. If we don't know, then it is our crime, cardinal sin, serious sin. And he told the students that to operate any patient without complete knowledge of the body is nothing but nothing less than a murder. So he believed that every doctor should operate patient with a complete knowledge of the body. Otherwise, it would be called a murder. Sadao murmured to the white man that it was not quite at the kidney. So Sadao murmuring, he told the white man, the American, even though he was not listening, that his bullet was not quite at the kidney, my friend. So it was Sadao's habit to murmur to the patient, and even he forgot himself in an operation. He always called his patient my friend, and so now he did. He also told the white man, his friend, forgetting that he was not his friend, but he was his enemy. Then quickly, with the cleanest and more precisely incision, so Sadao quickly with the cleanest and most precisely accurate cut. He made accurate cut in the body of the white man and the bullet was out. So Sadav, with his cleanest and accurate cut, he found the bullet out. The man quivered. The man quivered means the man was trembling, but he was still unconscious. Nevertheless, the white man murmured a few English words. Even though he was unconscious, he murmured a few English words. He murmured chokingly. The white man murmured chokingly. He was unable to breathe. And he talked about his guts. Guts means kidney. He was worried about guts. They got my guts. The white man murmured that the enemy got his guts. Guts means the organs in and around the stomach, means kidney. Hannah cried sharply to Sadav. Sadav said, "Hush." Sadav asked her to stop. The man sank again into silence, means the man again became unconscious very deeply. That Sadav, he felt worried and he took up his wrist to feel his pulse, even though Sadav hated the touch of the white man because he was American enemy. Yes, there was still a pulse. So Sadav, he took up his wrist and he felt a pulse, but his pulse were so faint and feeble, very weak. But his pulse were enough because Sadav wanted the white man to live, to give him hope. Sadav thought that certainly he didn't want the white man to live because he was enemy. He told Hannah not to give more anesthetic. Sadav turned as swiftly as though he had never paused, and from his medicine he chose a small vial. Vial means he chose a small bottle, glass container for medicine, and from it he filled a hypodermic syringe. He filled a syringe and thrust it into. He pushed it into the patient's left arm. So Sadav injected the white man in his left arm with the help of the syringe. Then he putting down the needle, he took the man's wrist again. So after injecting the white man, he tried to feel his pulse. The pulse under his fingers fluttered. He found that the pulse were beating very quickly, once or twice, and then grew stronger. Sadav told Hannah and said that the white man, this man means the white man, would live in spite of all, what he thought, that he should die. The young man woke, but he was so weak that his blue eyes so terrified. The young man woke up, but he was very weak physically. His blue eyes so terrified when he become aware where he was. So he was terrified when he was aware where he was. Even Hannah felt compelled. Hannah felt forced to apologize. Hannah felt compelled to say sorry to him. She had to serve the white man herself, because none of the servant would enter the room of the white man, as they refused to serve him. When she came in the first time, when Hannah came in the first time, Hannah saw the white man summon his small strength, someone is collecting whatever strength he had to be prepared for some fearful thing. So she saw that the white man mustering all his strength as if he was ready for some fearful thing, because he was the enemy. Hannah begged him softly not to be afraid, because she found that the man was afraid of her. The man When he heard Hannah speaking in English, he gasped. He gasped means he took a quick deep breathing with his mouth open, and he was surprised. How come Hannah speak English? Because he was Japanese and still she was speaking in English. Hannah replied the white man that she was a long time in America. She was long time been in America. Hannah saw that the white man, wanted to reply to that also, but he could not because he didn't have energy. And so Hannah knelt and fed him gently from the spoon, porcelain spoon. The man ate unwillingly without his wish. The man was eating without his wish, but still he ate whatever food fed by Hannah. Hannah told him that now he would be so strong, even though she didn't like him, and yet she moved to comfort him. She gave him comfort by saying that he would be strong, but the man didn't answer. When Sadav came in the third time, in the day after the operation, when the Sadav came in the third day after the operation, he found the young man sitting up, his face bloodless, his pale with the effort. So Sadav got angry when he came in the third day after the operation, and when he found that the young man, instead of lying down, he was sitting up. His face became pale because of the effort made by the man to sit down. Sadav cried with anger to the white man to lie down and asked him whether he wanted to die. He forced the man, he put the man down gently. Sadav put the white man down gently and strongly and examined the wound. And he scolded him that he might kill himself if he did this sort of thing. Means the man should lie down, he should not try to sit. It would put his life in danger. He scolded him, Sadav scolded him not to do such sort of thing again. The boy, the white man, he murmured and he asked Sadav what he was going to do with him. The white man looked just now barely 17, and the white man asked again whether he was going to hand him over to the police. For a moment, Sadav didn't answer. He finished his examination and then he pulled the silk quilt over the man. Sadav told the white man that he didn't know himself what he would do with him. But he should, of course, give the white man to the police because he was a prisoner of war. And Sadav asked the white man not to tell him anything. He put his hands as Sadav saw the white young man was about to speak. So he instructed, he told him not to tell anything to him. He told him not to even tell him his name unless he asked it. Because he was a prisoner of war. He was enemy. Sadav and the white man looked at each other for a moment, and the young man closed his eyes and turned his face to the wall. He whispered with his mouth a bitter line, agreed with what Sadav had said, that he should not tell anything to him. He agreed. Outside the door, Hannah was waiting for Sadav, and Sadav saw at once that she was in trouble. So Hannah told Sadav that Yumi told her that the servants felt that they could not stay with them if they hired the white man there anymore. The servants had decided that they would not stay if Sadav and Hannah would hide the white man in their house. Even she also told Sadav that they were saying that Sadav and Hannah both were so long in America, as they were so long in America, so they have forgotten to think of their own country. First, the servants thought that they were like American. So in this way, the servants they talk about their opinion about Sadav and Hena, that how as they lived in America, so they thought like Americans, and they have forgotten their duty towards their own country. Sadav said harshly that it was not true, and he told Hena that Americans are his enemies. But as he had been trained not to let a man die if he could help it, he could not let him die. So Sadav told Hena what is his duty as a doctor. As a doctor, he had been trained not to let a man die if he could help him, even though he was an enemy. Hannah replied anxiously that worriedly that the servants could not understand that whatever he was doing, it was his duty. He agreed negative that the servants could not understand his duty as a doctor. Neither Hannah nor Sadav seemed to able to say more, and somehow the household thing dragged on. Whatever the household work went on. The servants grew more watchful. Their courtesy, their politeness was as careful as ever. The servants were very polite, they were courteous, but their eyes could show the coolness upon Hannah and Sadav. So servants were now cold towards, they were not showing respect. They were not showing respect towards their master. It was the old gardener. One morning, he told that it was clear what his master should do, what his master had to do. He had given his opinion that it was clear what their master should do. He had worked with flowers all his life and had been a specialist too in moss. For Sadav's father, he had made one of the finest moss gardens in Japan and sweeping the bright green carpet constantly so that not a leaf or a pine needle spoiled the velvet of its surface. So the gardener now pinching a bird from bush as he spoke that his old master's son knew very well what he ought to do, what he should do. And he added that when the man was so near death, why did he not let him bleed? So, according to him, as the white man was near to death, he should not try to make him alive, he should let him die. The cook also joined the discussion. The cook, he joined contemptuously without showing any respect towards his master. He also gave his opinion that young master means Sadav, was so proud of his skill to save the life that he saved the life, he saved any life, means no matter the person was enemy or his own countryman, friend. So the cook even he joined the discussion that young master was so proud of his skill to save life that he would not see whether the man whose life he was saving was enemy or friend. The cook split a fowl's neck, a bird's neck skillfully and held the fluttering bird and let its blood flow into the roots of the wistaria vine, a type of climbing plant. So see, after killing the bird for making the food, she let the blood in the plant. According to the cook, the blood is the best of fertilizer, and the old gardener would not let or waste a drop of it. Yumi, she joined the discussion and she said sadly that they must think about the children. It is the children of whom we must think. So Yumi told the gardener and the cook that they must think about the children. And she expressed her worry that what would be the fate, what would be the future of the children if their father is condemned as a traitor, if his father was declared guilty as a traitor. So she was worried about the future of the children. So the cook, the gardener, and Yumi, they didn't try to hide what they said from the ears of Hannah. So Hannah was listening whatever spoken by the gardener, cook, and Yumi as she stood arranging the day's flowers in the veranda nearby, because Hannah stood arranging the day's flowers in the veranda nearby. She was listening and she knew they spoke on purpose that she might hear. And Hannah even knew very well that the gardener, the cook, and Yumi, they spoke intentionally so that she could hear whatever they spoke about the white man. That they were right, she knew too in most of her being that they were right. Even Hannah knew very well that the servant, Yumi, gardener, cook, they were right, whatever they had spoken about the Sadao and white man. But there was another part of her which she herself could not understand. It was not sentimental liking of the prisoner. So Hannah was not sentimental. She didn't like prisoner. She had come to think of him as a prisoner. She had not liked him even yesterday when he had said in his impulsive way. So Hannah didn't like the white man because he was a prisoner. Even the previous day also she didn't like him when he said in his impulsive way, rash way, anyway, let me tell you that my name is Tom. So when the white man introduced himself that his name is Tom, at that time also Hannah didn't like him. Hannah had only bowed her little distant bow. She had bowed her head to show respect. She saw hurt in his eyes, but she didn't wish to assuage him, to make unpleasant feeling less severe. So she saw hurt in his eyes. She saw how the white man was hurt in his eyes. That she didn't want to add. She didn't want to add any more unpleasant thing. Assuage means to make him unpleasant, feeling less severe. Indeed, he was a great trouble in his house. So Hannah believed that indeed the white man was a great trouble. He was dangerous. He was a danger. He was threat. As long as he lived in the house, it would be dangerous for everyone. As for Sadao, every day he examined the wound carefully. Sadao, every day he examined the injury carefully. The last stitches had been pulled out this morning, and the young man would in a fortnight, in 14 days, be nearly as well as ever. Sadao went back to his office and carefully typed a letter to the chief of police, reporting the whole matter. So Sadao had already he typed the report. In his report, he has typed that on the 21st day of February, an escaped prisoner was washed up on the shore in front of his house. So far he typed and then he opened a secret drawer. So Sadao, after typing the details about when and how the prisoner of war washed up on the shore in front of his house, he opened a secret drawer and put the unfinished report into the drawer. On the seventh day, after that, two things happened. In the morning, the servants left all together. So on the seventh day after the operation, two things happened in the house of Sadao and Hannah. Early in the morning, the servants left together, leaving the house, their belongings tied in large square cotton kerchiefs. So they tied all their belonging in the large square cotton kerchiefs cloth. When Hannah got up in the morning, she found that nothing was done. So no household work was done by the servants. The house was not clean and the food not prepared, and she knew what it meant that the servants had decided that they would not work as long as the white man would stay there. She was dismayed. She was worried. Dismay means having worried, sad feeling. She was dismayed and even terrified, but her pride as a mistress would not allow her to show her worry, her fear. Instead, she inclined her head, she raised her head gracefully when they appeared before her. So she was a mistress, and with her superiority, she raised her head gracefully whenever the servant appeared before her, hiding all her feeling, hiding all her fear, and she paid them off. So Hannah paid them the salary and thanked them for all that they had done for her and her family. All the servants were crying, they were crying, leaving the house, but she didn't cry. She didn't show her emotion. The cook and the gardener had served Sadao since he was a little boy. So Sadao was very close with the cook and gardener because they had served him since he was a little boy in his father's house. So they were attached with Sadao. And Yumi cried because of the children. She was also close to the children. She was so grieving, she was also feeling sorrow. Grief is sad. She was so sad that after she had gone, she ran back to Hannah. So Yumi was so sad leaving the children that after she had gone, she ran back to Hannah. And Yumi told Hannah that if the baby misses her too much that night, send for me. Send for means call her. She was going to her own house, and Hannah knew where her house was, where it is means where it was. Hannah said smilingly. Hannah replied to Yumi. She thanked her, but she told herself she would not send for Yumi. However, the baby cried. She would not take the help of Yumi, even though her baby cried. Hannah herself made the breakfast, and Sadao helped with the children. Sadao took care of the children. Neither of them, neither Hannah or Sadao, spoke of the servants beyond the fact that they were gone. But after Hannah had taken morning food to the prisoner, she came back to Sadao. So both Sadao and Hannah, they didn't speak about the servant, only the fact that they had gone. But Hannah, after taking the morning food to the prisoner, she came back to Sadao and said, she told him that why it was they couldn't see clearly what they should do, what they ought to do. She asked him that why it was that they couldn't see what they ought to do. She believed that even the servants saw more clearly than they do. And she asked him why they were different from the other Japanese. So she wanted Sadao to hand the white man to the police. She wanted Sadao not to treat the white man, not to keep him at his home. Sadao didn't answer. But a little later, he went into the room where the prisoner of war was, and said brusquely means in a rude manner. So Sadao, little later, he went into the room where the prisoner was, and he said in a rude manner that day, today means that day, he might get up on his feet. Now the white man would be able to stand on his feet, and he wanted him to stay up only 5 minutes at a time. So Sadao, he had made his intention clear to the white man Tom that now he would be able to stand on his feet, and he wanted him to stay only up for 5 minutes, and he told him that the tomorrow means the next day he might try twice as long. It would be well that he should get back to his strength as quickly as possible. So he told Tom that by tomorrow, by the next day, he should try to collect all his strength as quickly as possible to get back to his strength, to recover well possible. So now I have finished the second part, and the remaining part I will explain the third video.